Got it.
Yeah, got it.
Thanks. So Candace, in the room, we have Jim Posтрel, Mike Mech, Bill Fahrenwald, Teddy, Allan Stevo, Ben from BITV, and yourself, and me.
Can anybody hear me?
And now, yeah.
You can hear me now?
Yep.
I can hear you now.
All right. I've been trying everything under the sun to try to get a connection here. All right. Hold on 1 second. The reception is not that great here in City Hall. Okay, are we ready to... Hello?
Hello.
I hear you.
Okay, I'll read the public notice. It says public notice of the Municipal Services Committee for the City of Blue Island to be held remotely Tuesday, September 8th, 2020, 6 p.m. as permitted by Executive Order 2020-07, signed by Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker on March 16th, 2020, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. To participate remotely, download the Zoom app or call 312-626-6799. Webinar ID number is 813-6678-9557, and the password is 669950. Okay. So we've got Alderman Mech. Hello?
Yep.
Alderman Fahrenwald.
Here. Here.
Alderman Stevo.
Here.
Okay, Alderman Rita is absent. Jim Posтрel.
I'm here.
Betty Harmeyer. Betty, are you there?
I don't see her out here.
Okay, Ted Ruthenberg.
I'm here.
And Bob Jackson.
I don't see him out here either.
No, okay. All right, thank you.
But you got Eric Alvarez here.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Eric. I'm sorry.
Hi, no problem, Alderman Carr. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, under citizens' concerns, I did get an email from Carol DePace Green. Says public comment from Municipal Services. And she says, until the real problem is addressed and resolved as clearly identified October 2012 City of Blue Island East Side Street Flooding Relief Concept, details included and spelled out by Joe Warner, who is actually certified water sewer services. The area currently known as the Fifth Ward will continue to flood. Hello?
Hi, Alderman Carr.
Okay. I sent out I sent a copy of her email to the members of the committee. I think you probably all have gotten it anyways, but just to make sure, I did send it to you so you could see it. Yes, hello?
Yes.
Did you have a question? Was there a question?
I think during we lost you, or I'm losing you.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm here in City Hall.
Yeah, we lost you for a little bit during that, I think.
We're here.
Okay, well, I'll reread this. This is public comment from Municipal Services from Carol DePace Green. She says, until the real problem is addressed and resolved as clearly identified October 2012 City of Blue Island East Side Street Flooding Relief Concept, details included and spelled out by Joel Werner, who is actually certified water sewer services. The area currently known as the Fifth Ward will continue to flood. And she attached a map and various pros and cons of the proposal that Joel Werner had come up with. I did email this out to the aldermen so that they could take a look at it. All right. Jim, you want to do your public works report?
Sure, thank you. So in the following month, we did 47, almost 48 tons of asphalt, and 1 ton of coal patch. Street lighting, we did 8 street lights repaired, 9 were reported to ComEd. Bulk waste, 96 20-yard dumpsters, and one dumpster of tires. We did our water testing. The first and second Tuesday of the month. We actually did it today also. We read the water meters. And then we replaced 6 water meters, residential meters. And then, let's see, we had scheduled appointments, was 8 ECR were moved or repaired. Final readings were 10. Meter rechecks were 3. Water turn-ons were 4. Water turn-offs were 3. Meter inspections were 5 of them. And then we had 180 unscheduled repairs and meter readings. I hope I'm through it. Am I breaking up?
I can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, that's good. I wasn't sure. That's it for the report for Public Works.
I have a question.
Sure.
Thank you, Jim, for your hard work there. I put a request in to have a do not block driveway sign. It didn't make the agenda, but it's at 12702 Maple Avenue. 12702 Maple Avenue, do not block driveway.
Okay, I'll make note of it.
Is that requested, you requested ordinance for that procedure?
No.
And normally, how long does it take to have that done?
Is that something you gave me?
I gave it to Chairman Carr.
Okay. Yeah, that's something like, something you should be able to report to me. I should be able to, check it out and put it up.
Do you know how long it normally takes? How long does it normally take?
I don't know. I didn't have the truck on the street today. So I don't know. It should go up, today being Tuesday, hopefully before Friday this week, if not next week,
All right, thank you,
depending
Jim.
on how things go this week.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Alderman Stevo also requested a 5-ton weight limit for Edison Street. Is that
Edison.
something that we need a ordinance for, Jim?
I don't think so. I don't know. That I don't know about the ordinance for the ton. Maybe because that would have to be enforceable.
Yes, you would need an ordinance.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know off the top of my head what the overall weight restrictions are throughout the city on the side streets, but if it varies from that at all, yes, you would need an ordinance to be able to enforce it.
Alderman Carr?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Yes, this is something that the residents requested on Edison and Francisco. And they were thinking that they want their street to last a long time. And they would want an ordinance and a fine imposed with that. And also it would go on the computer of the semi-truck drivers that they're not allowed to go down Edison or Francisco. And that's what they were respectfully requesting.
Okay. I believe I had spoken to Jim about this before, and there is a problem with Francisco in case deliveries need to be made to the school.
No, I think that would be Sacramento.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Sacramento would be a problem. I think that was mentioned about Sacramento before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew we had talked about it. Okay, so Alderman Stevo, you're looking for Edison and Francisco, correct?
That's correct, with an ordinance to enforce it, please.
Okay, you make a motion and then we'll send it through to judiciary. They have an ordinance made.
I'll move to have that ordinance drafted.
Okay, do I have a second?
Mech.
Okay, thank you.
So
Allan.
was that something that Randy was gonna look into to see if all the residential streets already have that? And then it just need signage, or is it just for those streets?
I mean, it probably makes sense to do it now because I don't have to wait for a month, but I can get with Eric Alvarez and see. Eric, do you know offhand what the weight limits are? He's muted, but anyway, yeah, we can start the process regardless. And if it is the same, then we're good.
Right, okay.
Okay, so do we need to vote this through as an ordinance then? Do you want me to refer it to judiciary?
Yeah, I would like to vote. I would like to have a roll call vote on it if we could.
Okay, so we had a motion by Alderman Stevo, second by Alderman Mech. You want a roll call vote?
I'm
Please.
sorry,
Okay,
can
Alderman.
I just
Yes?
clarify I just want to clarify what we're voting on. Is this to ask it to go to judiciary?
I believe Alderman Stevo is asking for an ordinance if there's not already one in place, along with fines for the violation thereof.
That's for Edison Street and Francisco. Vote
Okay.
Vote for it and send it to judiciary.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I've got a motion by Alderman Stevo, second by Alderman Mech. Alderman Stevo,
Aye.
Alderman Mech,
Aye.
Alderman Fahrenwald.
Aye.
I'll say aye. Okay, all in favor, motion carries. Then we've got to rescind handicapped at 12717 Elm Street. I need a motion for that.
Motion, Mike Mech.
Second,
Oh.
Fahrenwald.
All right. And we'll do a roll call. Alderman Mech,
Aye.
Alderman Fahrenwald,
Aye.
Alderman Stevo.
Aye.
I'll say aye. Motion carries. Okay, underwater delinquencies or the water report actually. Hello?
Hello, Candace. Betty is on the phone. She has to hit *6. Also, Bob Jackson is on the phone. He also has to hit *6
Okay.
to unmute. There we go.
Okay, I'm unmuted now.
Okay, great. Hi, Betty. How are you?
I couldn't get in under Zoom on my iPad, so I had to go through the phone. Sorry.
Okay. We're all having technical difficulties, it seems
Okay.
like. So it's no big deal.
Okay.
Okay, so we are ready for your water report, Betty.
Okay. So on contractual accounts were only 13 this month. So the amount collected on that was $4,079. Houses sold with a water balance were $954.62 collected on that. I've sent out 12 red tags. Those are the first red tags since COVID started. They just are now becoming due. Actually, on last Friday, the first of them were due. So I'm giving them a few days to get any response because the red tags that were put on homes are homes that show no water usage. And without being able to really communicate with these people, the only way to see if there's anybody living in there is to put a red tag on. So I haven't heard from any of the, one of the four, the original ones, has paid in full. The rest of them are still no water usage, and I haven't heard from them. So we will be turning them off to not run up the bill. So I've sent out 35 first letters. That's what I call my C letters, and that's just kind of an introductory to the fact that we would love to work with you with a payment plan. Everybody is having issues, and we want to try to help in any way we can, and that we will be as flexible as possible. And so this month, 35 letters went out. I've had partial pay on the letters from when I started on June 1st of $6,000. For this month, it was the month of July was $6,314.63, and full payment of $5,528.54. And so the total to the city from these delinquent accounts is $16,876.79. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I'd like to ask one if I might. Alderman
Sure.
Fahrenwald.
Go ahead.
Betty, I'm just curious. I know it seems like up until recently, we weren't experiencing a lot of delinquencies. Are you seeing that go up now?
Oh, yes. There's been, since COVID started, there's been a tremendous amount of delinquencies, tremendous amount. And so again, because of COVID, we're going about it in a somewhat soft hand attitude that we want people to be aware that we know that there's issues and that many, many, many people are experiencing them, but we also want them to know that the city is as willing as we possibly can be, would love to work with them. So there's many, many people, and what I really find kind of ironic is that the ones that were always delinquent, or it was, normal for them to be in a delinquent state, I don't really hear from them. It's the ones that are very rare to be delinquent, if never, I hear from them. So I think that is a very positive thing. And to me, that's moving in a good direction.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Right.
I just want to say if anybody ever has any questions about any of this, whether it's from their listening to their constituents, please feel free to call me at work and just ask me any questions. I will try to give you whatever answer I can, and if I don't know the answer, I'll find it out for you.
All right. Thank you very much, Betty.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Betty.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
Okay, the Jesse Recreation Center. Mr. Jackson, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello?
Do you have a report for us this month?
Yes, I sent out the monthly report. Do any of the committee members have any questions?
I do not.
You had asked me a question about the replacement of the sign, Mr. Jackson.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Jackson?
Yes, ma'am. The question was, some of the residents in the area has been requesting about the sign, and it's been over a year now. And I've been sending requests. We did follow up last week that it did go through Municipal Services, and it did get on the Finance Committee agenda back in February. The question is, was it approved by the Finance Committee? Some of the members say on the Finance Committee say it was, but we just seeking proof because one of the aldermen on the Finance Committee is told them not to proceed.
No. No, I can't speak for the Finance Committee. I know I sent you the minutes from our October meeting last year where we approved the sign.
Yes, all that information was forwarded to the finance director, and I believe she forwarded it to the mayor's office to prove that everything has gone forward. As of today, I had not gotten a response from anyone to verify that it. I believe it was approved from some of the finance committee members. We just need it in writing, and then we can proceed to have the sign replaced, and the city will bill the parents of the children who tore the sign up.
Okay. All right, I will follow up with the Finance Committee and find out where it is, if they've sent the okay to the Finance. Is there anything else?
No, ma'am. We're good. We're good.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Jackson? No? All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Mr. Ruthenberg.
Hello. How is everyone?
Good.
Okay, so Candace, Alderman Carr, did you receive my email with just a small comparative numbers from last year to this year to date?
Truthfully, I don't remember seeing it. I didn't have a chance to recheck my email before I left tonight.
Okay. So I'm sorry nobody has this in front of them, but I would like to go over it anyways, just so everyone has an idea where we're at. Basically, at this point, from last year compared to this year, we're only down about 2.5%. And that is due to COVID. I mean, but it's not, it's basically $20,000 we're down at this point compared to last year. So that's very good. A few months ago, it was $100,000. So the gap is closing in. And then does anyone have any questions regarding that?
If I could just get a little bit more clarification on that, Teddy, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
As Alderman. Down 20,000 in revenue?
That's in total revenue, yeah. And that's mostly in alcohol sales, Alderman Fahrenwald, due to mostly all of our golf outings have been canceled and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's really where we see a big sales and alcohol. So that's where it's down. That's down about $40,000 for the year.
Okay.
And
So
then
how is that? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, and then we made up the other. We're actually up in greens fees sales. We're up 12% this year compared to last year at this time.
And kind of what's the net effect? I mean, you're down 20,000 revenue. What's the expense side look like?
So actually I sent the email I sent. I'm still working on the expenses. There are just so many outstanding bills and everything. What I have out of our Smart Fusion program is not accurate. And I did not want to report that to the committee. So hopefully by next meeting, as we get closer to the end of the golf season, I will be able to give you a better picture of that.
Okay.
I just didn't want to throw out, the numbers are kind of screwed right now. So as soon as all the bills come, as soon as everything's paid, I can give you more of I can be more accurate with that for you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
And as far as go ahead. I'm sorry, Alderman Carr.
Oh, go ahead. Finish up.
No, I was just going to say, as far as operations go, the clubhouse is still closed. People are allowed to come in and use the restroom and order drinks and food, but everyone is still sitting outside. We're disinfecting golf carts, wearing masks, making sure all customers wear masks inside. We're doing the best as we can over here.
Okay. What I was going to ask was, do you have any more quotes on netting for those homes on Elm Drive?
I'm sorry, Alderman, you broke up a little bit. Could you repeat that?
Sure. Do you have any more estimates on netting for the homes on Elm Drive?
So I'm still waiting on one. Currently, we only have the one at it's about $20,000. I have not received the second one yet. As soon as I do, I will forward it over to you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No? Okay. So we'll move on to Robinson Engineering.
Yes, thank you,
Eric.
Alderman Carr. Yes, thank you, Alderman Carr. A couple of things for the committee this month. I think first and foremost should be an update on the FEMA Building Resilient Infrastructure Grant application that we are planning to put in. That application was approved by Finance, so we'll be moving forward with the application. We've reached out to the MWRD, the sewer district, Metropolitan Waste Reclamation District of Chicago, so the sewer district. They have shown support for the project and have indicated that they are going to be showing their support on the application, and also have indicated that they would like to help with the local match for the project. So that's very good news from the sewer district. We have a meeting with them on Thursday on site where we'll be discussing the pre-application that we have to do at the end of September to the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, so IEMA, prior to applying to the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So that is moving forward. And I think I'm happy to report that all the signals for that are good, especially the support of the sewer district, which I think was critical. So I just wanted to ask if anybody had any questions, and just to give you all that update on the FEMA application. This is for flooding in the 5th Ward and sewer separation / detention.
I would just say I'm glad to hear you're making progress there.
Thank you, Alderman Fahrenwald. Okay.
Do we, Eric,
Chairman Carr.
Oh, go ahead, Alderman Stevo.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Alvarez, I was perusing this information that former Water Superintendent Joe Warner put together. At that time, the estimated cost was $250,000. And this, he believes, would have solved the problem of the 5th Ward. And as a committee, and as you being the engineer, I would like to look at this more closely and see in how how you could fit that into the Fifth Ward water problem.
Sure. Alderman
Joe Warner
Stevo?
brought a lot of experience with this report, and if this would rectify the problem, let's do it for the people.
Alderman Stevo, I haven't seen that report that you're talking about from I don't know if his name was Mr. Warner. I haven't seen that report. I would definitely be happy to review, and if there's any cost-effective solutions that we could implement, especially like as a short-term relief, we of course would be happy to review them and give you our input and facilitate them, design them as much as we can. So I'd like to see the report, and then I could definitely let you know what I think. We'd be happy to, we're happy to look at anything. So
He explained here that it's a comprehensive report, and it's not short-term, but a long-term solution to the problem. And he
okay.
was a water superintendent. And this report was dated October 1st, 2012, and not too much has changed since then, other than more flooding. But I don't know if I like to move that as a committee, we present this this report to Eric, and if he could look further into it.
I will forward him the email. I didn't send it to him beforehand because this was just a public comment from Carol Green. But if you'd like to take a look at it, I will forward the email to him.
Yes, Alderman Carr, for sure. We would like to look at it.
And Mr.
Yeah, and if it's from 2012, yeah, for sure.
And
I'd
could you report back to us for the October meeting, please, with this?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions on that? No? Okay. Also, Mr. Alvarez had sent us quite a lengthy document on sewer backflow prevention. Eric, it looked to me like this is pretty much a project that would have to be funded by the city in some part.
Yes, Alderman Carr. So a quick update for the committee on that. Sorry about the length of the document. I think you find the first page is really just an overview, and then the rest of it is example programs from surrounding communities. So what these are cost sharing programs where the city or the village, in whatever case it is, shares a cost of improvements to private property for flood prevention work on private property. There's a few common elements to the plans and a lot of differences. One of the common elements is the need for the city and or a licensed plumber to suggest the best work at each property. And then after that, the various programs basically allow or disallow work depending on the individual community problems. For example, Blue Island doesn't have many properties in a floodplain, doesn't have a national flood insurance policy / FEMA coordination in the same way as a city like Midlothian, for example, does. But Blue Island does suffer from many well-documented cases of basement backups. So basically each program in these surrounding communities are tailored towards the water issues that each community faces. But definitely some of the common elements are it's a cost share. Anywhere between 25 and 75% of the cost gets borne by the city up to a certain budget limit. The improvements have to be suggested by a plumber, the building department, public works in some cases, but they definitely look at each individual property to determine an effective solution so as not to spend money on something that isn't going to be effective. And then I think probably last point I'd like to bring to the committee's attention that if they wanted to go through with something like this, I think it's definitely, and again, a common element in many of these programs that the actual service outlet for the sewer from the house to the street has to be inspected. In my experience, and in like it seems to be overwhelmingly in the literature that we found, the most common problem tends to be a constriction or a collapse in the pipe that leads from the house sewer to the sewer main. And if that's the case, that problem can be fixed very economically, typically, and then you don't waste money on more expensive solutions if the water can't actually get from the house to the main drain in the street. So a couple of points on that. And then again, just to say that, yeah, these are cost sharing programs. We found 11 surrounding communities for examples, and that's the bulk of the, like you said, lengthy report. I just wanted to make sure that you all could see some of the education materials that they had also provided. You know, if some of this stuff isn't exactly in the city budget at the moment because of, you know, the crisis we're facing right now and everybody's money is tight. There still is some low cost educational stuff that we could do. For example, like letting people know that, you know, if they're having problems, the first and probably most cost effective thing they can do is have their, you know, have their outlet pipe inspected to make sure that there isn't a tree root going through their pipe, for example, or there's the pipes collapsed or something like that. There's a blockage, because if the water can't get out of their house into the main drain, that basically there's nothing, there's no effective solution you can do on private or public property until that is fixed. So, okay, so that's what I wanted to say about the program, and then wanted to know if y'all had any questions.
If I could just say something, Alderman Fahrenwald. Eric, thank you. I think this is partly in response to my request for information at the last meeting. And I'm sorry I somehow missed these documents, so I'll take a better look at them before the next meeting. But I'm very interested in any ways that we can help, you know, alleviate the problems, at least some of them as possible at as low as cost as possible. So for not having seen this before the meeting, but I'll take more of a look at it, and maybe I'll follow up with you, and maybe the committee can do some more work on this. Thank you.
Mr.
For sure,
Alvarez?
you're welcome, Alderman Fahrenwald. And just, I think Betty said it 1,000 times better than I'll ever be able to say it. But you all know, if you or anybody has any questions, you can always contact me. So for sure, if you're looking through the report and you have any questions, feel free to contact me, please.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes, Alderman Stevo?
Yeah, I have a question. I was perusing your packet here. It's very, very good. Examples of external flood control system for one, the exhibit. And I was reading about Itasca here, the village of Itasca, but with them,
Okay.
there is no warranty or guarantee.
Right.
So would there be a warranty or guarantee here in the 5th Ward or the city of Blue Island?
We would definitely recommend against providing any warranty or guarantee for work done on private property by private contractors by the city. It's fairly typical for a contractor to apply a 1-year guarantee for workmanship. And then, so if we're talking, for example, of an overhead sewer system that requires a pump, typically that pump would also have a manufacturer's warranty, but I would definitely recommend against the city applying any sort of guarantee for work that isn't done by city forces and isn't done on city property.
I see. Thank you for explaining that.
You're
Thank you for
welcome,
explaining.
Alderman. You're welcome.
Okay, when I had spoken to Eric about this previously, I had mentioned to him that we should most likely send this through to finance, not for action now, but for action on the appropriations for next year. If we can find money to set aside into a fund like this, that we could assist residents in the future. Because right now I don't see, is there anyone on our committee that is also on finance? Anyone?
I'm not.
No. Mr. Stevo? Mr. Stevo? Alderman?
No, I'm not
No?
in finance.
Okay. I was going to ask if anyone has any update on what the state of the city is right now, because I personally have not really heard anything about what a shortfall might be for this year. So, all right. And then the last thing I have is the lead service lines. I'm not sure that we should do anything in this regard. I've gotten some negative feedback, which I read last time. And I've also done a little bit of research, and I think that before we vote on this, the aldermen on this committee should do some research, if they haven't already, do some research on the amount of work needed. Because from what I can tell, looking online, this tears up people's lawns basically from the street all the way to their house. If we do a small area of the town, it would be like an entire block completely torn up. And from what I can gather now, we really don't have a lead problem with our water. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, but I would urge the aldermen to do a little bit more research on this.
Hey, Alderman Carr, this is Eric. Can I just chime in and just also support what you're saying? Blue Island does not have a lead issue with their water. It gets tested by the IPA. Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but it gets tested regularly, I believe, every month or every other month. And there are not elevated lead levels in the city of Blue Island water. It gets tested regularly, and the lead levels in the water are within limits set by the IPA.
Correct. And we just had a special test just for lead and copper, and I think we completed that within the last few months. So yeah, we're actually really good water.
Are those tests conducted within the mains, or are they conducted at all at the point of discharge, like in a home or something?
Those were in a home. The lead and copper test was actually, they have to drop off a bottle, and they have to let the water sit in the pipe overnight. And like the first thing in the morning, they take that sample, and then we pick it up, and then we have to drop it off at the lab.
Yeah, that's very helpful to know. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I would tend to.
And then the other ones are also, we have the first Tuesday of the month, there's 13 locations throughout the city. We take it, and it's at Spigots. It's at the, it's at the home. And then the second Tuesday of the month, we do another 13 other locations. And those are every month. And then we just had to do an asbestos one. That was new to us that we had to do. And that was at, it was at a fire hydrant. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any alderman concerns?
If I could be an alderman's concern or something else I wanted to just raise with Eric, if I could.
Sure.
And Alderman Carr, I don't know if you saw it or not. I just noticed myself that we gotten an email from David Johnson, and I didn't realize it had been submitted as a public comment. But it's relevant to the committee. I'd like to just bring it up for
Oh,
a
yeah,
moment.
would you please read it? Because like I said, I didn't have a chance to double check my email before I came. So if you would, please read it.
Yeah, it's pretty lengthy and it's excellent. I think I'm going to try to summarize it a little bit because it'll lead up a bunch of our time. I'll start with the first paragraph. This is from David Johnson. I'm commenting to express my strong support and encouragement for Blue Island's pursuit of a grant to improve pedestrian facilities on our major commercial corridors under the ITEP, or Transportation Enhancement Program. This competitive grant program has historically awarded grants averaging around $600,000 with a local match requirement of 20%. But this year there is more money available than previously, and for pedestrian and bicycle projects, the state will cover some or all of the local match requirement. Additionally, projects will be scored in part based on whether they serve high-need communities, and David explains why we are indeed a high-need community. And he explains the hazards that are created by some of the the ways that our streets were constructed, is particularly Western Avenue and 127th Street, where there are long, long stretches to cross. and it creates a real hazard for pedestrians and also just discourages people from crossing the street. I know that for a fact from my own experience. My ward is cut in two by that intersection, and it really is a project to get across. And he says that these issues can be addressed through a mix of median, pedestrian, refuge islands, curb ramp modifications, and the installation of new signage and high visibility crosswalks at roughly 20 to 25 intersections throughout Blue Island. The greatest need for all of the above treatments is along Western from Burr Oak north to the city limit, but various improvements further south along Western and at targeted locations on Burr Oak and Vermont will also have an important impact. Additionally, well, he tells me some other techniques that could be used. But the basic thrust of this is that apparently there is potentially some funding available to address these problems, which I really consider to be really significant problems in our otherwise very walkable city. The streets present a real barrier to people who want to walk, and a real hazard. So Eric, I don't know if you're aware of this at all. We have the email was submitted to the committee tonight, but I'd sure like to have your reaction to it and know if it's something that we could pursue.
Yes, Alderman Fahrenwald, for sure. The ITEP grant, so Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program grant, was put out. The notice of funding opportunity was put out in August or July, and we've been working with Community Development Committee for over 2 months now, including with Mr. Johnson on an application. Through that coordination with Community Development Committee and with Finance now. That was Finance last week. Through that coordination, we have pinpointed improvements we'd like to make on Western Avenue and Vincennes for improved bicycle and pedestrian safety. We think the city has very good chances of getting this funding, and Dave is exactly right. This year is unique in that there's funding available to cover the local match from the state of Illinois. So we think it's a great year to apply. We've been working with community development on this for 2 months now. We have, in fact, I was working with Dave today and on this because he has some really good ideas. And yeah, we're hoping to get this application in. We think we've got a good shot at it. So I've been hoping to bring it to municipal services, but I think the feeling was we wanted to go through community development until it was pretty well scoped, and then bring it here as well.
Okay, and could I just ask specifically, are you looking at the intersections of 127th and Burr Oak, and also the intersections at Vincennes and Burr Oak?
We are, and we have been asked by Dave Johnson specifically for that. I think with 127th or Burr Oak, with Burr Oak and Western and Burr Oak and Vincennes, we have to be careful in that those intersections will be extensively modified if and when Western Avenue two-way project begins. So I think improvements there could be made. I think we'd have to make sure that we're not putting something in that 5-10 years down the line we're essentially tearing out.
Okay, I'll tell you, I'll just say, I don't care if they get torn out in 5 or 10 years. I want them. It's bad there. It's really, really bad. So I don't care if they're torn out in 5 or 10 years. We need those improvements there now.
Eric, I have a question. Eric,
Okay.
yes,
Sure.
I read Mr. Johnson's very well-written letter in its entirety. It's very well written. 127th and Western are state roads. What would Blue Island's jurisdiction be here? Could you please comment on that? What is our jurisdiction?
Well, Blue Island does not have jurisdiction exactly like you say. Alderman Stevo over either 127th or Western or Vincennes. All of these are roads under the jurisdiction of IDOT, the Illinois Department of Transportation. So we do not have jurisdiction over those roads.
So then this grant would not apply to 127th or Western Avenue. Is that correct?
No, Alderman Stevo, we can apply this grant to state routes. So this and yeah, that's very common because local funds, state routes can be very expensive to work on for a number of reasons, and these grants are kind of like an ideal source should the city want to work on a state route.
And I just want to say that it was the State of Illinois Engineering Department that created this problem to begin with.
Yes, they did. It's horrendous. I really mean it, Eric. I don't care if it gets torn up in 5 or 10 years. It's just horrendous over there. I cross that a lot. It's terrible.
I understand that, Alderman Fahrenwald, and I gotta say, I'm in agreement that those are not intersections designed for pedestrians, and in my opinion, they are not appropriate designs for Blue Island, which is a very pedestrian-heavy community. So I've taken that on board, and I do go to Community Development Committee every month, including this month. And if this sounds okay to you, I can talk with them about it as well.
And I tell you, my rather strong statement notwithstanding, I certainly would understand we need to be reasonable. Maybe it doesn't have all the bells and whistles on it, like maybe there's no trees or whatever some of the amenities are, but there's just got to be a landing pad in these places for people to stand. It is just dangerous out there.
Right, and I think there's some improvements we can do pretty economically, even if it's, if we're making, for example, what they're talking about is you want to call it a landing pad for pedestrians or pork chop or whatever you want to call it, but a pedestrian refuge island,
Right.
just kind of shorten some of those crossings. Like there are some fairly economical ways to do that too. If they involve striping or something like that, or even if it does involve concrete, it's not typically break the bank, especially when we're talking about the scope of a federal grant that's over $1.5 million is the maximum amount. So look, I understand what you're saying. And to me, it makes sense too. We definitely don't want to, propose massive changes to an intersection that likely is going to be changed in 5 to 10 years. But I think there's definitely economical improvements that could be made that would have a big impact.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Eric, will you be attending the Finance Committee meeting this month?
Alderman Stevo, I usually go if we have something on the agenda, but otherwise, then no.
Residents have asked me to ask you if you could explain to the Finance Committee how important it is to keep our sewers clean, to have our sewers
yes.
cleaned out.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've had record rainstorms in May, and as troublesome and as awful as the flooding has been, imagine if we hadn't, cleaned the sewers regularly. So I would be happy to make any sort of presentation regarding sewer maintenance we could. We've done a lot of work over the years with Public Works and keeping the program, regular and organizing it all. And I believe it's a very important program, and it's hard to overemphasize how important the sewers are as a piece of the city's infrastructure.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I think it's time to adjourn. Get to the next meeting. Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Alderman Fahrenwald.
Second, Mech.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Meeting adjourned at 6:56.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you, everybody.